Brothers and sisters, friends and family, much love to you all. Thank you so much for gathering around as we read the scriptures of our Creator. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope you guys are seeking our Creator where He is able to be found, and that your lives have been blessed by observing and keeping the most amazing things that we have ever been given, which is the way forward, the laws of our Creator. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Now, before you click off this, because I know right out of the gate, what I'm saying is going to trigger a tremendous amount of people, and let me first explain that if you're feeling anger or you're feeling some sort of concern about these first 5 books of scriptures, please understand that you have been literally programmed to think this way. We, in a religious organization, of any kind of religious organization, we are given a list of things that are believed by this organization. Say, for instance, the Catholics have entire sets of books and doctrines on all of what they believe and what is in their faith. Now, when you say faith in general, we've also been programmed with that word, and we've also been programmed with the word grace. And when we hear these words, we feel a greatness, a joy. And it is very much true that our Creator has absolutely given us grace, and He's absolutely given us mercy. Because as it sits right now, from the time that we are putting our hands in the cookie jar at 3 years old, that we're stealing cookies, we are falling under the curse, the spiritual curse of the Torah. And the spiritual curse of the Torah is a death without our Creator. It's an eternity with a sadness, an eternity with an uncomfortable presence. It's forever and ever and ever in a place that is not going to be something that we're able to escape. And a lot of people can't fathom this. A lot of people can't fathom life and time in general, because with us in life, it seems like day after day, month after month, year after year, it just kind of goes by. And a lot of us don't find the purpose. A lot of us don't find the understanding. But everything that we have been given from the very first breath of life all the way to the very last breath of life is a time frame that has been set for testing. Our Creator has allowed us to walk a beautiful set of lands that He has created in a testing environment. And this testing environment gives us an opportunity to, number one, seek our Creator where He's able to be found. And He's not going to be able to be found in religions made by man, because man have simply taken the book you see in front of you, the scriptures of our Creator, and they've hijacked them. And when they hijack them, they tell you things that are not in scriptures, and they laugh at you when you question it. Say, for instance, why does everybody worship on a Sunday? The default answer by the Christians is that it's the Lord's day. That somehow, because Jesus arose on a Sunday, according to them, and was up that day, this is the new day of worship. So taking us back to all of the original word, and it's not even Old Testament. If you say Old Testament, that's not giving this proper credit, because this is really what it should be called. It should be called the Current Testament. So instead of the Old Testament, let's call this the Current Testament. Because without the Current Testament, we don't have a functional foundational purpose going forward. It doesn't make any sense. And then when we run across books like Paul, when Paul is writing to a group of people in a little itty bitty tiny congregation, a response to a letter that we don't know what they actually wrote and what they said, and then we take what he responds to as some sort of a doctrine. The problem is when you take that doctrine and it trumps the actual first 5 books of scriptures, then you know you have something wrong, or you've read it wrong, or it's not what the understanding is. Because we've been given today about 158 laws that we can keep as human beings. That we don't need Levitical priests. We don't need animal sacrifice. We don't need a lot of what the current testament was about, right? The current testament gave us all of the laws, rules, and regulations along with all the Levitical rules and regulations. So if we don't have a Levitical priesthood, we don't need that set of it. Now, a lot of people don't understand that it's not that we didn't need it or that we didn't have it. It is that we have it. Because when our Messiah died and that temple curtain ripped from the bottom up, the significance was that this was our new priest. Our Messiah, Yahushua, you probably know him as Jesus. There were no J's in Hebrew, so I would like to use the man's Hebrew name. When our Messiah, Yahushua, rose from the dead after being tortured to death, overcoming death, and rising again, he became our priest. He also became that sacrifice, and he became our advocate, our judge, our Messiah, our salvation, and it is our leader in our Messiah who's going to come back and who's going to be leading the charge against the forces of evil during the millennial reign. This is what scriptures all say. And this is what all of these so-called religions will miss. The so-called religions will miss things about the future. That it's not about a mystical rapture where everybody goes off into the cloud 8 or cloud 9. It has nothing to do about that. It has about enduring to the end and us as Yah's people bringing the rule of Elohim to the people, to the world, by our voices, by our reach. That is what we are called to do. We need to be heralding in the rule of Elohim. And the rule of Elohim is the first 5 books of scriptures. This is Yah Scriptures, guys, and you can get it at yahscriptures.com. It's limited edition. It's large print. It's for those who like to read and read and read and not have our eyes strained and blurry and watery by the time we're done reading, right? It's 3,153 pages. It is 103 books. It is the greatest English translation that has ever been presented to us. And it is limited edition. And it has the name of our Creator and the name of His Son, our Messiah, right here in front of in the back. Now, today's reading is all about this individual right here, Yahushua, our Messiah, our leader, the one who is not the rebellious, law-breaking, law-fulfilling, it's no more, law dead to the cross. This is not the same Jesus that you have been sold and that most of us were sold in these religions. The religions that have Jesus talk about a man that loves everybody, which he does, a man that is lawless because he said all food was made clean, which is not true. That is a complete lie. But that is what we inherit inside of religion. Because inside of religion, we don't read the scriptures. And if we don't read the scriptures, and we're too lazy to read them, but yet we've watched every episode of Survivor and every episode of Big Brother, or we have done all of this, we have invested all of our time in all of this stuff, but we've never read the scriptures as a love letter from our Creator to us, all of this is going to be on us. And so, guys, with this is Yah Scriptures. It is sitting right in front of you. This particular version is a Google app version that is completely free. You guys can go to yahscriptures.com, click on the download section, and under the download section is all of the various different formats of this. And eSword is the one that's most limited because they don't allow most of the books. Like, they only allow certain ones because they're kind of a Christian group. In fact, they are a fully Christian group. And so they only allow certain things and not all of the things. But what we're seeing right here, guys, this is the words of our Messiah, Yahushua, as he is walking among his people. And, excuse me, Inside of this, what we learn is tremendous pearls of wisdom. So let's begin to see what our Messiah has to say. And he is talking to all of his disciples. He's sitting there in the last little section that we did. He clearly says he is the arm of the creator of the universe. He is the arm of his Father, and he is not the Father. He says he has the Ruach HaKodesh of his Father, the same Ruach HaKodesh that all of us can have, that we can be strengthened up with. That's what he is, and that's what he is separate. There's the Trinity is yet more man-made doctrines that we've been fed, which are not supported in scriptures at all. Messiah says this: a pitcher half filled with water would hold less oil than an empty one. If wine is poured into a jar containing water, the wine is diluted. So when men say, "What purpose does it serve to forego worldly pleasures?" Tell these things to them. If they will not listen, then on their own heads be the illnesses and pains from which they will surely suffer. Okay, lots of stuff to take into this. The question inside of this: what purpose does it serve to forego worldly pleasures? This is these things that we have to look at and we have to decipher. And when we are into worldly pleasures, let's just name off a few. Movies, right? That is one of these things that is like an incredible, what I see is almost a deadly sin. In as much as that inside of a 2-hour span, whatever you're programming you and your kids and whatever into, everyone thinks is okay. And that's one of the things, brothers like Jim Staley, he loves Disney flicks. He goes over and over. His entire family, as entrenched as they are in what appears to be Torah based, they're all about movies and they're all about entertainment and they're all about this kind of stuff. This is a different message than I have. I say without a shadow of a doubt that we need to get rid of the worldly pleasures, because this whole little verse right here is talking about a human, right? Us. We are a jar of oil, and what we consume in us can either be good or it can be bad. If we are trying to gain the kingdom, if we are trying to gain acceptance into the kingdom, but yet we still have a foothold in the world, that we're completely entrenched in this world, that we're watching what goes on in the world, we just think we're all part of that. We're deluding ourselves. We're diluting the potential that we have to gain spiritual stronghold, a spiritual foothold, and to gain credits in the kingdom to come. And so we should not be like the world. We shouldn't taste like the world. We should not act like the world. I know the elections just happened, but as people of our Creator, none of us should care. None of this matters to us. Free men don't have to vote. We are people of our Creator. Our president is Messiah Yahushua. We need to make sure that we are aligned with our Creator, aligned with His ways, aligned with everything that is Kodesh, holy, not aligned with things that are worldly, right? Let's separate ourselves from this. Let's get ourselves away from this. Let's do whatever it takes. And I'm always talking to the men out there, because I know that because of the world of pornography, and again, let me talk to the women as well, because I know this is an issue with women as well. Guys, we got to get out of this. We got to clean up our minds. We got to stop watching this stuff. It is evil. It will break us. It is the windows to our soul. When we watch this, we're committing adultery, and we're becoming deluded. Everything that we have is becoming deluded, right? We're breaking commandment time and time and time again, and we will have a day of accounting. It's not just going to be grace, grace, grace. We need to account for the damage that we have done to ourselves, to the world, to everything, and it's going to come. So we want to lessen that day of accounting and try to bring the kingdom to fruition. Try to do better than what we have done. Try to pick up the pieces, dust ourselves up, stop being raging Gentiles. Let's understand that there is no house of Gentile. There is no place in scriptures anywhere that Gentiles are saved. It doesn't happen. If you want to be a child of the Most High, then we get rid of our Gentile ways. We come into covenant by the Torah, by the first 5 books of scriptures, by abiding them, writing them on our hearts, on our minds, on our souls, that they're part of everything. That's the thing about the Torah, is Torah becomes life. It is a Torah life for sure. Continuing on, the 12 said, "Great is the hope you have given us, and great is the inspiration of your words." Yahushua said, "I do not do this of myself, for I have been filled with the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, which is part of Yahuwah." Again, this is incredible stuff, because we have this in regular scriptures, but we don't have it defined quite like this. Sorry, guys, I had to split there for a second. Probably lost my train of thought. Let's get back into this. The first part of this verse is amazing. This is the Trinity breaker, right? The definition and the things that we get out of this book. Number one is the Ruach HaKodesh, the hand of the creator of the universe, has always been somewhat of a mystery to us. When you deal with man-made religion, they will sell you this yarn that where it's like an egg. The creator of the universe is like an egg, and you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and it's all three in one. It's a triune. It doesn't matter who is what or what is where. And when you bring up scriptures that it says our Messiah is going to be sitting on the right hand of his dad, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's just you're seeing it in fullness, right?" There's no answer for it. Either we have a Messiah that lies and lies and lies, or we have to accept the truth that if he lied, he would have not been a proper sacrifice for us, right? He would have been blemished. If he would have gone to the stake as a Torah breaker, it would not have worked out. That's why we had perfect lambs, perfect rams. Everything had to be perfect when it came down to sacrifice. You're not giving the chump change end of the farm to our Creator and calling that good. He wanted the very best of the best. And this is where our Messiah is always saying, "I'm not doing this of myself, but I have been filled with the power of the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh," which is the same spirit that all of us can gain. The closer we become in a walk with our Creator, the more of the power of the Creator of the universe will be instilled inside of us, right? In this book, the book of Khalidi, we've read where Messiah's face was glowing, like he was doing like what Moshe did when Moses was sitting there, freaking everybody out because his face was shining. He had to wear a veil. He was a walking nightlight. This is what happens when you have the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh. It's said to emit as like a light blue. And so people, even in this book, it talks about even in complete darkness, you could see like a light blue. So anyway, that's what we're trying to gain, right? We want the power of the Creator of the universe who knows? You have faith as a mustard, as anything, right? We can take that mustard seed and develop a ginormous thing. Moving trees, ripping trees out, rerooting trees. It's all about understanding the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. Continuing on, Messiah says this, "With this, he created all things. I come that I may bring light to those who dwell in darkness, to bring to those who are on the brink of death a knowledge of life, and to bring consolation to those who suffer. I am the hope of those who despair, the helper of those who have no guide, the treasure of the poor, and the healer of the sick. I am the light of the eternal Kai, life for all who die. And as I am, so must you be." Okay, the big piece to even take out of this particular verse is the last part, where he says, as I am, so must you be. Okay, what is he, right? He goes a lot, right? He talks about he's the hope of those who despair, the helper of those who have no guide, the treasure of the poor, and the healer of the sick. Okay, this is what our Messiah has said. If we want to be followers of Christ, and that's what the Christians say they are, they follow Christ, but they follow a guy named Jesus, and their Jesus is different. He's a law-breaking individual. He wears like a leather jacket and drives a Harley. That's the Jesus they like. They don't like a Messiah who is a law keeper, who is a leader, who's a judge, the guy who knows the Torah better than anyone. This is the guy that we want, right? And so if we want to be followers of our Messiah, who's going to be a leader, regardless if you like it or not, then we need to have help those who are in despair. Have any of us helped anyone in despair? Have we lifted a hand? Have we lifted anybody that looks in despair at all? Have we done anything for anybody? Have we given them a bit of hope, a bit of love? Do we look the other way? Do we not care? Are we a helper of those who have no guide? Have you been the laughing stock of the herd as you tell your Christian family about the Torah, about the way forward, about the kingdom, and about this, right? That's the light. And of course, most of them are going to laugh at you. Most of them are going to scoff. And it's just the funniest thing to hear this crazy poor fool that is sitting there trying to convince people that the laws of our Creator are amazing, right? That's who we should be. What about the treasure of the poor, healer of the sick? There's a lot of ways we can heal the sick. We can heal the sick with some love. Sometimes a hug is all people really, really need. 33, go. Carry the good tidings without trepidation of fear, without respect for persons, calling all who listen to follow a path which is direct, narrow, and stern. Call them, whatever their circumstances, for each one will have something to contribute. Okay, we should probably put both of these verses together in this thing, because this is Messiah in the end of 32. He's talking about as I am, which is the hope of those in despair, the helper of those of the no guide, the treasure of the poor, and beyond that, right? He goes and he continues on. He says, go, carry the good tidings. Okay, what good tidings? Well, number one is we have a Messiah who's going to come and rule the hand of his dad using the Torah. He's good. That's who it is. That's the good tidings, is the Torah has been made flesh. Our King has walked these lands. Our King is alive. Our King is going to be leading us, right? That's the good tidings. It's not a grace thing. It's not this thing that all you got to do is believe. You got to raise your hand at 8 years old and just believe and say this prayer, and you're saved for all time, and not a single person can ever grasp you out of the hand of our Father, right? That's what the Christians say, and all of what I just quoted was completely out of context. And that's what they do. Continuing on, our Messiah says, without trepidation or fear. Guys, we just talked about being laughed at and scorned at, right? These verses all just kind of go together with this whole chit chat. Without respect for persons. It doesn't matter who they are. Poor, rich, family, not family. We are to go out there and bring the kingdom to the people, calling all who listen to a path which is what? Pork eating, law breaking, once saved, always saved. Pray to Jesus, your sins away. Pray on this pork and it becomes clean. No, that's not what it says at all, right? We are supposed to be on a direct, narrow, and stern path. Whoa, that is contrary to what Christianity has. Christianity is barely a watered down version of Scriptures. It's less than that. It has no weight. It has no power. It doesn't bring the Ruach HaKodesh. It doesn't bring any of that, right? It's a lawless religion. So we are telling people about a path which is direct, narrow, and stern, without trepidation of fear and without respect to persons. You're going to get laughed at. You're going to get scorned, but we're called to do that. If you want to be on the side of our Messiah, we have to come out of our shells. We have to come out of our little cocoons. We have to come out of our comfort zones, our personal spaces, and we have to try these things. Reach out. Talk to these guys. Okay? Why? Why is this important? Well, Messiah says, call them. Whatever their circumstances, for each one will have something to contribute. Yes, every single person that we drag out of the depravity of so-called religion, and we guide them and get them on the path of our Creator, That's amazing, right? And then these people, all of a sudden, they become farmers. And all the people that they were surrounded, they become the laughing stock of the herd until they get the few people here and there. And all of a sudden, the little people that are all laughing stocks of the herd, there's more people and our herd grows. Our people grow, the sheepfold grows, our paddocks get bigger. And that's what we're looking for, is the kingdom is not coming until we are doing our jobs as the people of the kingdom to bring this forward. This is what it's about. Our Creator has created soldiers for the kingdom. You, me, all of us. This is why we do what we do. We have to bring light to the darkness. We have to show people the way forward. And even in these prisons, which is what Yah Scriptures prison ministry does, there's depravity. There's all of these guys that are in this fake Christian program, and it teaches them the same rhetoric that you get everywhere else. The only option to ever get videos or things into prisons is to go through this place called Panda. I submitted all our stuff. They don't want to hear the truth about the laws, statutes, and commands. They don't want to hear any of this. They want to hear the same Christian rhetoric as everybody else. So we got denied. We get denied. They're not going to let us do this. We tried, though. We're definitely trying, and we're working it through the email system, and everybody that's responding it's simply amazing. So, guys, I don't want to get too far into this. Yeah, I think we're going to end right here. Let's take a quick stab at one of my favorite verses and my favorite chapters of all time. And I go to this all the time. This is literally probably one of the best go-to chapters of everything. There's so much there. And this is in the times of that we're in right here. There's so many people that have given us a get rich scheme religion. This is all you got to do. Send in this shiny white teeth guy 10%. But they never tell you stuff like this, right? They never ever say things like enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction. And there are many who enter in through it, right? Right out of the gate, this is the words of our Messiah. This is what the Christians have their Jesus saying. This is their Jesus who tells them enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction. Okay, so what are we envisioning, guys? We have a narrow gate. We have a tiny gate, right? The size of a little itty bitty thing, right? But the way after the gate, right, is broad, and it leads to destruction. What destruction? Our souls. We have one shot at this. We have from the first breath to the last breath to get this right. And if we don't get this right, then our souls are doomed. What are we doing here? Okay, 14, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life. And there are few who find it. Why? Why are there only few who find it? Because we live in a 9 billion world place where we have 3 billion professing Christians that every religion of Christianity is opposite of what the scriptures say for us to do. There's not a single man-made religion that does what the creator of the universe has asked us to do. And then you have all the other religions with all the other gods and everything else and all this stuff. And when we look at this, when we look at what our creator has asked us to do, this is what the Christians say are bondage. Be fruitful, bondage. Multiply, bondage. Replenish the earth, bondage. Subdue it. Yeah, we want to have the animals all like destroying us, right? That's bondage. Right? All of these things. Master sin, right? We should live better. We should try to align our lives better. We should try to seek the ways of our Creator. And our Creator is giving us these laws. That He's like, this is what I'm about. This is who I am. If you want to be part of my clique, if you want to be part of my clan, if you want to be part of my tribes, then these laws are for you. These laws are things that you can do today, that we can do forever. Do not kill. Oh, that's Exodus 20. We'll keep that one. But the fourth commandment of Exodus 20, which is keep the Shabbat, keep the seventh day Sabbath, we don't do that one. We got a 90% on that 10 right there, but you know what it is. So, guys, here we go. Do not lie with beasts. Can you imagine that? That law's nailed to the cross. There we are. All right, folks. I think I've talked your ear off. If you made it this far, much love to y'all. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good rest of the week. I'm out.